Welcome back to Out of Bounds here on SportsTownChicago.com. I am Robert Tatka, and joining me at this time is Mr. Money in the Bank himself, WWE superstar Seth Rollins. Seth, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Chicago.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. How you guys doing?
Thank you, Seth. I'm doing well today, and thank you again for joining us here on Out of Bounds.
Anytime, guys.
Seth, I just want to start off first with SmackDown. It's such a big integral part of the WWE, and for the longest of time, it was on Thursday nights, moved to Friday nights, and now it's moving back to Thursday night, and with you being such a key player within the WWE, you're obviously going to be a big factor in SmackDown. Can you tell us what it's like to have SmackDown moving back to Thursday nights?
Pretty cool, man. You know, like you said, for me, SmackDown, it was always on Thursdays when I was growing up, so that was my day to watch it, you know. So the fact that we're going back there, and the fact that, you know, it's my show, for better or worse, right now. I run the ship, man. Mr. Money in the Bank, future of WWE, so essentially future of SmackDown as well, and pretty excited to be part of that future on Sci-Fi's on Thursday nights from now on moving forward.
Seth, you were obviously a member of the Shield with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. However, there are those who believe there could have been a fourth member of the Shield. If you could have chosen a fourth member of the Shield, who would it have been and why?
Oh man, honestly, I don't think it would have worked with four people. I don't think it would have worked with two people. I think it was one of those things where it was absolutely perfect with the three guys that were involved in it. You know, it was one of those things where you couldn't have written that up. You couldn't have made a script for the chemistry that seemed to work, that we had all together. It was just one of those things where we just gelled as a team. We were like the '96 Bulls, man, like Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. You know what I mean? It looks great on paper. It's out there, and it's like, what is this? This is insanity. 72 wins, you know. So
that's a tremendous reference there, Seth. It's good to know that you're a Bulls fan, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, it's one of those things where it wouldn't have worked with the fourth. It wouldn't have worked with 5 or 2 or anything like that. It had to be 3, and it had to be the 3 of us. There was no real other way to do it.
You're listening to SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Robert Tatka, and with me is Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank, WWE superstar. Now, Seth, this Sunday, you're going to be facing Brock Lesnar and John Cena in a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. Can you tell us what your mindset is going to be going into prior to this big championship match?
You know what's kind of cool is that I don't even think people realize this is my first shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So that's pretty cool in its own right. I don't think people understand that the magnitude of that for someone like me. So you add that into the mix, along with the fact that, you know, it's Royal Rumble, which is arguably the second biggest pay-per-view of the year behind WrestleMania. You throw in guys like Cena and Lesnar, who are legends, not only in our industry and our company, but in pop culture spectrum as well. You throw my name and my face into the mix and all that. It's certainly, without a doubt, the biggest match of my career. And so there's a lot riding on it, a lot of pressure, but I can barely guarantee that, you know, I'm going to knock this one out of the park, just like I do every single time that I'm in a pressure-packed situation.
Seth, since August, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship has not been seen weekly on either Raw or SmackDown, or pay-per-view events for that matter. Are you ready to take the title back? And what has been your opinion on Brock Lesnar not being a fighting champion?
I mean, my feelings are he does what he does, you know. If that's his prerogative, and that's the company's prerogative. If that's how they want to do things, then that's fine with me. I think it's something that in a few ways has worked in our favor. In the way that now we're not getting title defenses all the time, and really makes that championship feel very, very special. It makes the champion feel special, which he is. He's a special talent, and so that part is interesting. I think it was something that was certainly an adjustment from what our fans are used to, but overall I don't really have too much of a problem with it, besides the fact that it kind of shows what kind of heart he's got as far as his commitment to what we do. And when I'm out here grinding, wrestling 200 matches a year on the road, 300 days a year, doing my thing, it kind of discredits that a little bit, and I don't appreciate that. But again, to each their own. He can do things how he wants. He's earned the right to make those decisions, and hopefully come Royal Rumble, I can take that thing back, and I'll be at every Raw, every SmackDown, and every live event, and if I've got it, that thing will be there with me.
Seth, we have a question from one of our listeners and a big fan of yours, Brian. He was wondering, what is it like to be under Triple H's wing?
Oh, it's great. I mean, who better to learn from, you know? I mean, you really couldn't ask for a better mentor, which is essentially what he's been to me. from my days in NXT until now. You know, he's a guy who's multiple-time champion. He's clearly the crown prince. He's basically running WWE right now. Going to take that sucker over sooner or later. And he is, you know, they call him the cerebral assassin. Obviously a nickname given to him by Jim Ross, but, you know, that's for a reason. He's a guy who really thinks about every single thing that he does, every move that he makes, and he's really kind of instilled that in me as well. And it's been an extremely beneficial process for me, learning from him right under his wing.
Seth, the big announcement yesterday that was made by WWE, and it's just exciting for all us wrestling fans out there, is that Macho Man Randy Savage is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame class of 2015 during WrestleMania weekend. I'm excited about it. I was just wondering, you know, you're a wrestling fan, obviously, and you were probably a fan of Macho Man Randy Savage growing up. What does it mean to you as a fan to see the Macho Man finally make the Hall of Fame?
Oh, it's great, man. I mean, it's phenomenal. You know, Macho Man's one of the undisputed greatest of all time. Really stoked that he's going in there just to you know, to be with all of his colleagues and fellow superstars and Hall of Famers. He's one of the best, man. It's about time. I'm really excited to be a part of the company while he was you know, inducted. To say that I was there when that happened is pretty awesome.
Got a little bit of a fun question here, Seth, from one of our listeners, Joe. He just wants to know, what has it been like having J&J Security by your side? Do you prefer having them or being a part of the Shield?
Oh, J&J are the best, man. I mean, they got my back, you know what I mean? Two different dynamics, obviously, but J&J is, they're killing it right now. They're making a name for themselves. They're awesome, so I love it. I'm very excited to have them be out there with me every single time. It's pretty cool.
Is that a perk of being Mr. Money in the Bank?
I would say so. I can afford my own crack security team.
Seth, last night on Raw, you mentioned that for your Royal Rumble World's Heavyweight Championship match, you have a Plan A and Plan B. However, I know you're not going to divulge your information on what your plans are, but if Plan A goes awry, do you have any hesitation on going to what Plan B?
Well, I mean, no. I think Plan B is a Plan B for a reason. If you don't go at Plan A 100%, then the Plan B may not be as effective. So for me, going into this match of the Royal Rumble, I'm going to treat it as if I'm not going to phone it in and kind of bide my time and wait and see. I'm going to go in, you know, all guns blazing and try to win the match itself. The briefcase is a Plan B in case Plan A goes awry. It's not the primary objective. So ideally, I don't ever have to get to Plan B. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Cena doesn't like me. Lesnar doesn't like me, but luckily for me, they don't like each other either. So it's really, in every sense of the word, sense of the match, a triple threat scenario. Nobody likes anybody, and there's a lot of animosity between all three parties, and we all want the same thing. That should make for some very, very interesting professional wrestling.
Seth, jumping back to the Hall of Fame, it's always great conversation with wrestling fans to talk about who should and should not be in the Hall of Fame. I'm a big believer that Ravishing Rick Rude should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Is there anyone that you believe should be in the Hall of Fame?
Ooh, man. Sometimes it's hard to remember who's exactly in there. Is Mr. Perfect in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, actually he was. He was inducted back in 2007 out in Detroit.
See, you got that down. You remember very well.
Robb was there, I think.
Unfortunately, no, I was not at that one. However, I was at WrestleMania last year in New Orleans, and Seth, meeting you was actually one of the highlights of the entire trip for me.
Oh, tremendous. Awesome, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. You know, who's a good dark horse? I think maybe, you know, who would be Rick Rude's a good one. What about Earthquake, man? Quake was pretty awesome. I remember he was like one of my favorite foils for Hogan in the early 90s. He was very intimidating, and like he just had that crazy mullet going on, like the skullet with the bald mullet thing. It was very, very intimidating.
You know, Seth, one of my favorite Hogan nemesis would have been the Big Boss Man from the late 80s. I think he deserves some consideration for the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, Boss Man, too. Or like someone like a Rick Model Martel, man. You know, Rick Martel was awesome, too.
Seth, if you're to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship this upcoming Sunday, do you have a preference on who you would like to see win the Royal Rumble? I mean, there's always that possibility that Dean Ambrose could possibly win it.
Well, then you're going to see Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania.
See, I would love to see you and Dean Ambrose because I believe you have a little bit of payback coming from one Mr. Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's your opinion. I mean, no, I don't have a preference to answer your question. So if El Torito won the Royal Rumble, that'd be great for me and make my night of Mania a lot easier. But, you know, it takes a specific kind of person to be able to win the Royal Rumble. You know, it's not everybody just getting an opportunity to do that. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing the outcome of that match as well, if I even have time to sit down and watch it, or if I'm conscious at that point. But I really just hope that whoever it is you know, ready for what's ahead, because the road to WrestleMania is a very interesting time for us. And you know, if I'm the champion heading into WrestleMania, there's going to be a lot of trouble on that road. It's not going to be a nice, clean, paved road on the way to WrestleMania, I'll tell you that.
Seth, you spent some time at NXT, and there's a ton of talent down there right now. Is there anyone that you see right now that would be someone that you can't wait to work with when they make it up to the main roster?
You know, it's always just very interesting to see how certain talents translate from NXT in that environment to what we do. It's definitely different, and I think you know, some of that's apparent to see when talents come up, and it takes a little time for them to adjust. But at the same time, there's definitely a lot of guys down there who I think are 100% ready and good to go. And I wouldn't say, I mean, certainly scared is not the right word. I'm always excited to see new guys come up and debut. It's really cool, dudes with a lot of passion who you know, just want to come up and make this place better than it is and contribute. And that's really all I look for and all I ask for the guys coming up. So I'm excited. And of course, I got some friends down there too who I think are going to, you know, really help us out in the future.
One last question for you, Seth. Now, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but Extreme Rules is going to be coming to Chicago in April. I just want to know, where does Chicago rank for you among cities that you get to visit with the WWE year in and year out?
Chicago is, for me, my second home for wrestling anyway. You know, I broke in that area working for AEW, Danny Daniels and those guys there, and you know, Ian Rodden and IWA Mid-South used to run a lot of shows in the Chicagoland area. And Ring of Honor, when I worked there, we would run shows there quite often at the Frontier Fieldhouse. And now WWE, you know, and we're doing all sorts of good stuff out of Rosemont. And every time we're there, the crowd is insane. And they're one of the loudest, most vocal crowds of any that we come across. And having another pay-per-view there is going to be really exciting. I think the last pay-per-view we had there was Payback.
Yes, it was, Seth. I was there, and I believe you owe me $25 because I bought a Shield shirt that night, and you guys broke up the next night.
Yeah. No, we were still the Shield in the Payback, my friend.
Yeah, so, I know.
But, yeah, we, you know, that was a great night for me as well. The crowd was phenomenal again, and Extreme Rules is always a fun show just because there's so much chaos that goes into it, and I think it's actually a perfect fit for Chicago, knowing you know, what kind of crowd they are and how wild they are. The show itself will hopefully try to match up to the crowd.
Seth Rollins, thank you for being a guest here on Out of Bounds here on SportsTownChicago.com. Hopefully we're able to have you again. I'm a huge fan, and I'm going to be rooting for you on Sunday night at the Royal Rumble. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
That was Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank, and hopefully one day the new WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. You are listening to Out of Bounds here on SportsTownChicago.com. I am Robert Tatka, and stay tuned. We got a whole lot more coming your way.